Welcome to Coach Bennett's podcast, where every run has a purpose, where kindness is hardcore, where this is about running, and this is not about running, where every starting line is a finish line in disguise, where rambling still gets you where you need to be, where pineapple will never ruin your pizza, and the sodas, adult and not adult kind, are always cold, and where there is room on the starting line for everybody. I'm Coach Bennett. Thank you for letting me be a part of your day. Let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Coach Bennett's podcast. This is episode, I actually don't know. I think it's 106. You know what? Let me just give me a second here. Let's see if I'm right, because I'm pretty sure last week was 105, which, simple math, that would make this one 106. And yes, this is 106. Now, I'm going to just give you a story about 106. It's really 106, 106.3 specifically, and I believe I've mentioned this radio station before. It doesn't play the music that I loved anymore, but it was FM 106.3 WHTG Modern Rock at the Jersey Shore. This is what I listened to during my entirety of high school. It was a religious experience when I would listen to FM 106.3. And again, it was mostly, well, not mostly, it was all alternative music, so it was really good. But I would say FM 106.3 and the DJs at this incredible station basically bankrupted me, because any money I had almost always went towards music. So I was buying tapes and CDs eventually. I'm dating myself a little bit, but whatever. It was a cool time to be a kid. And I would hear a great band, or that band would be passing through, and they would interview the band on the radio station. And I'd say, I got to check this out. And then I would go to a record store, and I would say, do you have so-and-so? And they would say, like, yes, we do, or no, we don't, but they're coming out with a new album. Oh, you know, kids, you got it tough already. I'll tell you what, a record store was just a stone cold gift growing up. I mean, you went in there and you just got to listen to music. You talked to the music nerds that worked there. They were cool as hell. It was just fantastic. You used to buy tickets to shows at the record stores, and they had t-shirts you couldn't get anywhere else. It was just the best. It was the best. And sometimes, like in a case, they'd have like some bootleg CDs from concerts. Oh man, just the greatest. Just the greatest. Anyway, so episode 106 reminds me of 106.3, Modern Rock at the Jersey Shore. The famous Matt Pinfield, who, if you're a music nerd, you know who Matt Pinfield is. He was like the head DJ there, and man, was he good. He was so good. So anyway, we're moving on. This is an episode that I hope everyone really enjoys. I will just be honest here. I think I need it just as much as hopefully all of you need it. So this was, I had a couple of ideas. I usually have a couple of ideas, and a lot of times it'll be the audience that kind of chooses for me based on things you're just reaching out and asking me about or telling me about. The time of the year kind of blends into it a little bit as well. But I came back from Los Angeles, where the After Dark tour, the Nike After Dark tour was, and it was overwhelming in the best possible way. I got to spend time with literally thousands of athletes. Thousands. I think it was over 15,000, close to 18,000 athletes, I think, ran the half marathon. But I was there for a couple of days. I was at the expo for hours, and I'm not joking when I say for 4 hours straight I met with athletes. And then I came back the next day for 4 hours straight. I met with athletes. I went to a dinner where I was hanging out with athletes. On race day, I was hanging out with the Pacers. I was hanging out with the athletes. I walked through the corrals. I went to mile 10 and mile 11, and I got to, cover some of the course with a number of the badass athletes there. And it was overwhelming in the best possible way. The sport is strong, and the sport is strong because of the athletes taking part in it. It is really
a substantial shift that you see with what's happening with the sport. And you can see it because of the distance of the race. The half marathon's a long race, 21.1K, 13.1 miles. It's typically a race that skews older, but the age has skewed significantly younger in the last few years, and they showed up. And it's a diverse group of athletes, which just makes my heart sing. It was amazing. I was so inspired and motivated by the athletes there in Los Angeles, and to all the people who came out and supported on the streets, cheering on these amazing women that took the starting line at SoFi Stadium. And so it was amazing. So I came back, and this word kept bouncing around in my head, just believe, 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 believe. And I think that word was bouncing around in my head because I spent so much time with athletes, so many different athletes, and they were believing in themselves, or they were struggling to believe in themselves, which is also badass. And I was believing in them, and there were family members and boyfriends and girlfriends and partners and parents and friends and teammates and strangers out there that were cheering them on because they believed in them too. And so it made me, especially on the flight, I was so tired and I had a headache, and I was closing my eyes and trying to just, does anyone feel like they can get rid of their headaches, like mentally? Like if you think about it, this is going to sound weird. And so I'm taking a little bit of a ramble moment, but I'll close my eyes. I'll imagine my brain. I'll imagine the places where I'm having the headache. So we'll say, maybe like back of my head, lower down. I'll imagine there's my brain, and I'll imagine it's kind of red, just like raw, kind of just like it just hurts. It just looks like it hurts. And I will slowly release the heat that I imagine is building up in there. I will, this sounds so crazy. I'll pour liquids. This is all mental, obviously. I'm not opening up my skull and pouring liquids on my brain, but I'm imagining just cooling liquids, calming it down. The throbbing is diminishing, and slowly the headache goes away. I used to be able to get rid of headaches this way. Now I can almost get rid of the headache, but it helps. Anyway, wow, not sure where that came from. The point is, as I was on the plane with my eyes closed, trying to get rid of my headache, I was thinking about what I believe in and what I have continued to believe in since I started as a coach. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to give you those foundational things that started me coaching, what I believed in, what I still believe in. And for many of you, if you've run with the Nike Run Club, especially if you go OG Nike Run Club, 2014, 2015, you'll remember something called the Nike Run Club Truths, the NRC Truths. And it was a list of 7 statements that when I first started with Nike, I said, look, this is my philosophy when it comes to coaching. And if you ask me to go against this, I won't. And if you're okay with that, if you're okay with allowing me to have my philosophy and supporting this and not asking me to go against it and allowing me to train the pacers and the coaches and instill this into NRC, what would become NRC, then we got something, okay? And testament to them, they said, let's do it. So I'm going to go through these. I'm going to tell you what they are and why I believe in them. And then we're going to go on our merry way. That'll be episode 106. So the first one, truth number 1, okay, is we are all meant to be runners. We are all meant to be runners. I believe that. I believe that is in us. I believe we are all meant to run. We can figure out what exactly that means in terms of the distance we want to run, the pace we want to run, the goals we feel we need to have, how we experience it, how many days we're going to do it. But we're runners. And this is something I just want everyone to remember. You gatekeep yourself, okay? Now, I'm not saying there aren't gatekeepers out there in the sport. There are. I'm not too concerned about them because they're not gatekeepers. They think they are, but they have absolutely no authority to gatekeep this sport. So if you run across people on social media or in real life that are trying to gatekeep the sport, saying you need to run a certain distance or race a certain distance or a certain pace, a certain amount of days, a certain amount of meters, minutes, or miles a week, a day, okay, they're clowns. You can ignore them. They have no authority, okay? They have like a fake sheriff's badge. It's just plastic. It's not real. I'm more concerned about when we gatekeep ourselves, because I hear it all the time. Athletes say, even the other night after the half marathon, asking me, am I a real runner now? I said, you were a real runner on the starting line. You were a real runner when you committed to this race and did that first run. You have been a real runner. All a real runner needs to do is run. And also, when you're not running, you're still a runner. I think I alluded to this. It might have been in episode 105. I'm not sure. But recently, and believe me, this could all be bleeding together because I had this conversation a lot over the weekend. You're a runner even when you're not running. Just like when I was a teacher and I left the classroom at the end of the day, I was still a teacher even though I wasn't in a classroom. I was still a teacher even though I wasn't in front of a class or teaching or giving a test or tutoring. I was still a teacher. I'm a coach when I come home and I'm not around any athletes. I'm still a coach. So I want you to realize, especially for those of you that may be away from the sport for a little while or going through an injury or a sickness or some mental burnout, you're still a runner. It's still there, okay? You are many things at once, and you have this space inside to be many things at once. So I believe we are all meant to be runners. It's just that some of us don't know that or don't believe it or aren't running yet. And just like what goes along with this is that it's inside you already, because I'll get asked, how do you create great runners? And I'll say, well, you don't create great runners. That's not what coaches do. Coaches don't create anything. We uncover things. So that great runner, that runner who loves the sport, that runner who has perseverance, is building endurance, has great confidence, that's always been there. You are just uncovering it. That's your job as a coach, to uncover the greatness that has always been there. And if you look at it from the other angle, the athlete needs to know they've got it inside them already. The work they put in, the belief they have in themselves, that's what's going to have them be able to be who they've always wanted to be. They just need to know who they want to be. They already are. It just may be covered up with, bad relationships and tough experiences and not the right opportunities. So just know it's there. And that was truth number one. We are all meant to be runners. Truth number two was all runners need to be athletes. Now, I believed this. I still believe it. And I'll tell you why I believe it. And it goes back to a story that I think I've told on a podcast earlier. I know I've told it in front of audiences before, but at the end of the cross-country season when I was in college, we would get together and we would play some basketball, the guys on the team. It was a big deal because we didn't really play basketball. Obviously, during the season, we were all terrified of getting hurt. So all we did was run. And we would be in this great shape at the end of a cross-country season. I mean, you had athletes running 70 miles a week, 80 miles a week, 90 miles a week. So that's a lot of running. So when it would come time to get on the basketball court and we're playing full court, believe me, it was run and gun basketball. It was fast break basketball. It was intense D basketball. And sure enough, about 10 minutes in, we were cooked. We were smoked. We were exhausted. So then it would turn into half court basketball. And after about 15 minutes of that, man defense, half-court basketball, it would turn into zone defense, half-court basketball, and then eventually would turn into like a three-point shooting contest, and then a foul shooting contest, and then everyone would just go home. And then we would be sore for a week. So we went in every year so cocky about how great we were in terms of endurance and our athleticism, when really we were just great runners. But we were no longer great athletes because we had ceased to work on the athleticism part. Running is a full body sport, but it does not mean that you are going to be taxed and working certain parts of your body in ways that you should just by running. That means you have to do more than running to get better at running. You got to keep playing those other sports, those side-to-side sports, basketball, tennis, the stopping, the going, the explosive aspects of it. That keeps you athletic. It keeps you an athlete, not just a runner. And if you don't have the ability to play those sports while you're running, while you're training, well, you can mimic them through drills. You can mimic them through exercises. So you can be mimicking those movements, that side-to-side explosive movements, okay? You can do those things. You can be a great athlete. And if you are a great athlete, you will become a better runner. You'll also be harder to get hurt. Runners tend to get hurt fairly easily for a number of different reasons. Great athletes are tougher to get hurt. So if you can become a better athlete, there's a better chance you'll be less likely to get hurt. And if you're less likely to get hurt, you're more likely to stay consistent. And if you're more likely to stay consistent in running, well, that is one of the foundational keys to betterment, consistently working at this craft, this running. So all runners need to be athletes, okay? 3, every run has a purpose. I know you've heard me say this a lot, and it's the truth. Every run has a purpose. You need to know why you're doing what you're doing, which is also why I don't understand why coaches don't explain to their athletes why they do what they do. And some coaches even get upset when an athlete simply wants to know, why are we doing this? And if a coach won't answer that question, I just got to let you know, athletes, it's probably because he doesn't know why. So, not a good sign. A coach should be excited to tell their athletes why they're doing what they're doing. And I'll tell you why you should be excited to tell your athletes why they're doing what they're doing. Because if they understand the purpose, if they understand the benefit that they will reap from doing this exercise, this drill, this fartlek run, these intervals, this long run, this recovery run, and why they're doing it at this pace, with this recovery, at this time of year, on this day, they will work harder because they will know the benefits. They will understand why they're being put in this position, why they're being asked to do so many intervals or so few intervals, why they're being asked to run in these conditions or not do something in these conditions. The smarter the athlete, the more likely the athlete is going to do a great job at what you're asking them to do. So, if an athlete knows what the purpose of a run is, there's a better chance that athlete will fulfill and meet that purpose. And every run has a purpose and, in fact, many purposes. Some are running related, some are not. Some are mindset related, mindfulness related. Some of them are emotionally and spiritually beneficial. That's wonderful. Bring as many purposes into your run as possible. Because another way that you're going to get athletes to run consistently, another way you are going to get to run consistently, is if you have so many purposes, reasons, inspirations, motivations to do a run. If you have more excuses to do a run, it's more likely you will keep running. So yes, today's a recovery run. Great. It's also an opportunity. It's the first nice day of the year to go out and run in the woods. Or, yes, you have a long run. It's also an opportunity to hang out with some of your friends and talk and get to see them. Great. Oh, you've got a speed workout. That's fantastic. You should do it on Tuesday nights. That's awesome. You're going to get in a hard effort. That's great. And it's like playing running. So it's fun. And usually you go out for some wings and a couple beers afterwards with the group you do the speed run. That's awesome. There's a community aspect to it. It doesn't just have to be about the running. So every run has a purpose. Number 4, respect the run but never fear it. Respect the run but never fear it. Now, there's a couple reasons why I have this in there. Okay, one is you need to respect what it takes to do a run. I think that's absolutely essential. A lot of times people go in, and maybe it's from ignorance, and guess what? That's okay. That's a valid excuse. Ignorance is a valid excuse. It's just an excuse you can only use once, okay? So if you have a run and it's, I'm making it up, it's a 15K run. All right, understand what it means to do a 15K run, the effort it's going to take to do a 15K run, the type of fitness you need to have in order to do a 15K run. And when you figure that out, you're going to understand, okay, not all 15K runs are the same. You got to respect a flat 15K run. You're going to have to also respect a very hilly 15K run. You're going to need to respect the weather conditions you're running in. Is it actually just mild out with a gentle breeze and it's beautiful? Partly cloudy, the sun's not that strong. That's fantastic. Okay, respect those conditions. Understand that. But you need to also respect the fact that if it's got a strong sun, it's hot, and it's humid, well, suddenly that 15K run is a different 15K run than the one we're just talking about, right? You don't have to fear it as long as you respect it. And if you respect it, there's the opportunity, there's the possibility that you may not do it. Because if you respect something, then you also need to respect the fact that maybe you can't do it. It's when you disrespect a distance, when you disrespect a pace, when you disrespect the weather conditions. That's when something rough can happen. So if you can respect the run, what you're really doing is respecting the runner, right? Taking care of the runner, knowing what you're asking from the runner, what situations you're putting the runner in. So lead with respect and you won't have to fear it. You'll understand it. You'll know what it takes to do it. So respect the run, but never fear it. The fifth truth, embrace your weaknesses. Embrace your weaknesses. From a coaching point of view, this is absolutely essential. Too often, we try to ignore our weaknesses. We try to pretend that they're not there, or we're ashamed of them. We're worried that someone's going to notice we don't do certain things the right way, and as a result, we don't work on them. We put them in a corner and we say, nope, I'm not doing it. I've seen it so many times growing up when I was playing basketball. There were certain athletes that were really good going to their right. They were terrible going to their left, so they never wanted to go to their left because you know what? Odds are they're going to make a mistake. Odds are there might be a turnover. Odds are they're not going to be as strong or as dominant. Yeah, duh. But I'll tell you what, eventually you're only going to be able to go to the right. You're never going to be able to go to the left, which means the defense is going to figure it out. They're going to push you to your left. Now you're screwed, okay? It's the same thing in running. I'm terrible at hills, so I don't run them. Well, you're now not going to run hills. You're never going to put yourself in a situation to run hills. And you know that hills can benefit how you run on the flats of a potential workout or courses you can run where you will actually improve your strengths while you're improving your weaknesses. Like, it's not an all or nothing. It's something for something. You run some hills, you're going to get better at hills. You're going to be dealing with a weakness, which is a great thing to deal with and bleed into the rest of your life. You're also going to get better at all the things you're already good at. That's awesome. So, embrace your weaknesses. They're the easiest things to improve. And from a coaching point of view, we love finding weaknesses. Not because we want you to feel bad. It's the opposite. We know that there is upside there. There is potential. Every time we see a weakness, it's excitement because we know that's something we can work on and you're going to get better. So embrace your weaknesses. That's the fifth truth. And yes, this is about running, and this ain't about running. Okay, number 6, measure success as many ways as you can. Measure success as many ways as possible. That's right. This sport's tough. And I've seen people that love the sport but measured success in a very narrow way where it was only about personal best. It was only about going as far as they could. Well, the better you get, the harder it gets to get better if you're measuring it in those narrow constraints. If you're saying, I measure success, if you're saying something like, I measure success by how fast I run. I'll give you an example. This course over the weekend was tough. It was a hilly course. There were some long stretches. So if you're looking at it at the surface and you're talking to someone who's fit and they want to set a personal best, which is great, especially that's, maybe could be, the main kind of driver for your training and your commitment to training was I want to put myself in a position to run 13.1 miles or 21.1K as fast as I possibly can. That's awesome. I love it. It's a great goal. The course has something to say about it though, right? Because maybe you set your PB on a pancake flat course. Awesome. This ain't a pancake, okay? This ain't a pancake at all. So it's going to be much harder to set a PB here. In fact, I'm going to make up a time. Let's say you ran a half marathon in 2 hours and 30 minutes. It doesn't matter what the time is. You can personalize it. Terrific. You did it on a pancake flat course. Then you come to a course that has undulating hills. It's tough. And you run 2:35. There's a really good chance that 2:35 is a far greater performance than your 2:30. It's the same thing in cross country, which is why I hate when people compare 5K times in high school between different courses. They're not the same. You could run a full minute slower on one course, and it's a far better performance than you did on your fastest course, in quotes, because that was like a parking lot. This was a real course. It could be the conditions that change it. It could be very hot and humid. It could be very windy. It could be extremely cold. There's all sorts of things you have to bring in to give context to what you're trying to do. So don't limit how you measure success. You could have a crap race, but mentally, you were such a good teammate to yourself. It was the best you've ever been to yourself in a race, good or bad. But here it was a bad race. The way you want to measure it, you felt terrible. The time wasn't good. Things weren't working well, whatever. However you want to, call it a bad race. The point is you were a good teammate to yourself. That's a success. This was the most consistent training you've ever had. That's a success. You really paid attention to how you were eating during this training cycle. In the past, you weren't eating enough, which is not going to lead to a great performance. This time around, you were eating consistently, you were eating enough consistently. That's a success. These are the ways that what you're going to find keep you in the sport. Because if you can continually experience success, you're going to keep coming back to the starting line, all right? Consistently finding success consistently finds new starting lines, okay? So remember that. Measure success as many ways as you can. And then the seventh one, the final one, we believe in you even when you don't. That's our job as a coach. That's our job as a teammate. That's our job as people who care about you. We often see something in you before you do. That's okay. Our hope is you catch up. And that's where the coaching comes in. You may not see the extraordinary that we see, the awesomeness that we see, the incredible perseverance, work ethic that we see. You do not see the potential that we see. Okay, our job is to coach you and get you to a point where the clouds part, the mist disappears, the fog goes away, and you finally see yourself the way we see you. And hopefully, waiting for you there is a starting line, an opportunity for you to go after it, chase that version of you down, and then pass it. That's what we hope. And it's not always easy. But guess what? We signed up for the gig, just like you did. Being the athlete ain't so easy either, okay? So we will believe in you even when you don't. And then we're going to coach our butts off to hopefully get you there so you can believe in yourself the way we believe in you. And I'm just going to throw in here right now, you've heard me say this before, you should become your own best coach. And when you do, you're going to see that potential in yourself day in and day out. It doesn't mean you're always setting personal best. It doesn't mean you're always doing something better than you've ever done before. The point is you believe in yourself, that there is potential to improve, to get better in so many different ways. And you're going to be there for it. You're going to support it. You're going to help that athlete and not hinder that athlete. And that athlete is you. Okay, so that's what I believe in. And I'll go through it real quick right now. I believe we are all meant to be runners. I believe all runners need to be athletes. I believe every run has a purpose. I believe that you should respect the run and never fear it. I believe you should respect the run, and if you respect the run, you don't need to fear it. I believe that you should embrace your weaknesses. I believe you should measure success as many ways as you can, and I believe in you even if you don't. But you will. You will. So, thank you for listening to episode 106. Thank you to all the athletes that were in LA and all the athletes that were not in LA, that drop DMs, that tag me on runs, that reach out because of the podcast or the guided runs or the newsletter. To all of you, thank you. You inspire me. You motivate me. You're the reason why I still believe in this sport, because I believe in all of you. So, that's episode 106. I believe. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of this community. Thank you for sharing this episode with friends and teammates and family. Thank you for rating and reviewing. Thank you for being a part of this community. Now take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I'll meet you on the next starting line. Thank you so much for listening to Coach Bennett's podcast today. And if you haven't already subscribed or set yourself as a follower to the podcast, I really hope you would. And make sure you check out the show notes, because in those show notes, you're going to find a link to Coach Bennett's newsletter and all the social media sites I'm on, like Instagram and Threads and Cameo and Blue Sky and Nope, not on that one anymore. So all the ones I am on, you're going to find it in the show notes, so check that out as well. And as always, thank you again for listening to Coach Bennett's podcast. Until next time, you keep taking care of yourself and each other.